Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the GioMoShow, Oakland men's basketball game reviews. I'm your host, Giovanni Mosheri, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the GioMoShow for weekly coverage of Oakland University Golden Grizzlies sports. Today, we're breaking down two games played in the past 3 days for Oakland against Michigan State and against Cleveland State. And joining me again today, back from the HoriZone Roundtable, is Oakland beat writer Griffin Beers. Griff, welcome back.
Good to be back. I wish we were talking about some wins, but let's dive in.
We'll dive into it. And you can dive into more of Griffin's work at HoriZoneRoundtable.com, and you can follow him on Twitter at Griffin_Beers2. All that information will be linked in the description below. But yeah, let's just dive into it. Let's dive headfirst into the 3-foot pool. And Oakland suffering 2 losses in those past 2 days. One at LCA against the Michigan State Spartans, 77-58, and another one on the road at Cleveland State, 92-75. So we'll start things chronologically. Griff, for the Michigan State game, before we even get into the play on the court, I've been listening to the local radio, and they had some comments about this game, and it's clear that I don't think the public understands why this game is played every year. So I know that you know, so let the people know. Why do we keep playing this game every year?
Well, I think it starts because the two head coaches have such a good relationship, and they love playing each other, and they love playing this game. And on the Michigan State side, I know Tom Izzo likes to play the game in Detroit because he says that fans that live in Metro Detroit don't always get to go out and enjoy a game at the Breslin. So he likes to give that new audience an opportunity to see their team. But on the Oakland side, I mean, why wouldn't you play this game? You get Michigan State. It's technically your home game, but obviously they don't want to come to the arena. So you're going to play it at Little Caesars Arena, which is a great environment, great experience for your players. And Greg Campy said in the post-game press conference, like, this game isn't for me, right? Like, I put all my attention on Cleveland State because that's a more important game than this for me. This is an opportunity for you guys to go out and make memories that you'll remember forever playing a program like Michigan State on an NBA arena. So that's kind of why this game is so special.
Yeah, it's more for the atmosphere and opportunity for players and fans to put on a good show. It's just the way I see it is just, regardless of the play on the court, I mean, it's Big Ten versus Horizon League. Like, it's, sometimes the talent in the budgets of the athletic programs, they are the way they are. So it's just more of putting on a show for the fans that can make it to the area. It's for fun. It's one of the few things in sports that can be just pure fun. And, there's not a bloody rivalry, no hatred to it. It's just fun. Like, that's how I see it. It's just a fun show.
Yeah. And I think that, that attitude is shown, with the two coaches, like crashing each other's press conferences and interviewing each other instead of letting the media do it, or walking out and wearing matching Christmas sweaters. Like, it is a really cool game.
Yeah, it's just for fun, but sadly the not fun part was on the court. So the way the game worked out was Oakland was down by only one, 31-30 at halftime. DQ was on fire, a little bit of Malcolm Christie too, but it all kind of fell apart in the second half. So we'll start chronologically. What was Oakland doing right in the first half to make it a one-score game at half?
Well, they made shots, and it started with DQ. Let's see, I got the box score here. He made 5 threes for the game. I think he was 5 of 7 in the first half. And so, I mean, when you have a guy go 5 of 7 in the first half, you're probably going to be within striking distance no matter who the opponent was. Michigan State did a good job taking him away in the second half. But no, that first half was kind of like what Oakland thinks they can be this year, right? A team that can make shots and a team that's going to defend really, really well. Even without Baru, who didn't play in that game after getting hurt in the pregame, that first half, they really hung in there on the offensive glass. They hung in there defensively. The rebounding kind of fell apart late as they got more tired. But that's kind of to be expected when you're going up against a team that has so much more size, so much more talent without one of your key big guys in there. So I think that it was a very encouraging performance by Oakland. It feels a little bit weird saying that now after what happened at Cleveland State.
Yeah.
But taking just what happened Tuesday, that was a really good performance.
It was, and not having Baru there, so I was on the WXOU call for that one, and it took me like 15 minutes to realize Baru wasn't there, and I even tried looking at binoculars, like, does he have a boot on or something? Like, I didn't realize, because we weren't watching all of warm-up, that he was just, he got hurt in warm-up, but it was shocking too. We thought it was like he was being saved for the Cleveland State game, but, we were grabbing at straws at that point. We didn't know until the post game.
Yeah, I mean, there are 3 or 4 minutes left in the warm up, and he came out in one of those like heated back braces, and there was not a very good look on his face. And I was kind of like, "Oh, that's a little weird. Why is he not doing layup lines or whatever?" And the final buzzer went off to start the national anthem, and I said to Neil Rule, who is the Oakland radio guy, and Michael Reedy, who is the sports information director, who tweets out the starting lineup, who does all the live stats. I was like, "Is Baru okay?" And they were both like, "What are you talking about?" Like, yeah, I mean, he's starting. Like, Reedy was like, "I just posted the starting lineup. He's in it." I was like, "Are you guys sure?" And then, sure enough, the official scorer came over, and I heard him tell, the PA announcer, my dad, "Well, number 12 is not starting anymore." And it was kind of like, "What? What the heck? What happened?" And then, yeah, so it was a very weird situation, but I'm glad he was okay to give it a go 48 hours later. So,
yeah, he was back on the court at Cleveland State. So overall, Oakland, in a 23rd time in a row, 77-58 loss to the Michigan State Spartans in front of a huge green crowd at Little Caesars Arena. And then 48 hours later, they're on the road to Cleveland State to face the Vikings in their third Horizon League matchup of the season. And a bit of a similar story to Michigan State. It just took a bit quicker for the opposing team in green to start taking the lead. Oakland would lose 92-75. Griff, just give me your general reaction to this one, because this wasn't fun.
yeah, this was, I was a little bit worried about the Eastern Michigan game after it happened. But I kind of knew that things would pick up offensively. There's no way that the shooters would struggle as much as they did. But this one, it was a little concerning just because Cleveland State, just like, it's a team that's on your level. It's not a team that you could say is just way better than you. And Cleveland State just did whatever they want through the Oakland defense. And that was a little concerning to see Cleveland State just out physical, out tough, like outsmart everything that Oakland was doing. So that was tough. Offensively was an actual I was actually pleased with how they played offensively. DQ was good again, but I think the big story is Malcolm Christie.
Oh, yeah.
He was a guy that I picked on my preseason All Horizon League team. And I mean, he was just struggling very, very badly to make shots early on. And then you saw him break out against Michigan State, and that continued last night. He had 19 points. I think he had 5 threes.
5 made threes, yep.
Yeah, so that was very encouraging to see. And him making shots just raises the level of the team by a ton. But hopefully that defensive performance was just kind of a one-off, and we're not going to see a whole lot more of that as the season goes on.
Yeah, and I was listening to the radio broadcast while watching it on TV, which I find to be the best way to watch it, because I don't need to hear Cleveland State's broadcast talk about the 1992 women's basketball alumni getting a wave. Like, I don't need to see that. I want to listen to the Oakland stuff. So,
yeah.
But on the broadcast, they had the interview with Campy at halftime, and quote, "No energy. They're killing our zone. It's like we're playing the zone for the first time."
Yeah.
That was after halftime, and it did not quite improve in that second half.
That defensively, it looked a lot like that Boise State game, where they just did not. There was just nothing going on, and maybe some of that can be blamed on you play in such a big environment with such a crazy atmosphere on Tuesday night. 48 hours later, you're playing in front of an arena that's it's a huge arena if you've never been to Cleveland State,
yeah.
And it's probably about 10% full. So, I mean, maybe you can blame some of that, but the emphasis was Cleveland State is the most important game we're going to play this week, so that's not a real excuse. But yeah, it was a tough performance to watch.
Yeah. And one last highlight for this one. It was shocking to me. After the first half, Cleveland State, 0 turnovers.
Yeah.
And they would end the game with only 3, a lot of which were by the time the game was at 15-point lead for Cleveland State, 20-point lead, and they would finish up with 3 turnovers. That is unique. And it really showed just the fact that they had all the possessions to themselves, essentially.
Yeah, and it's a defense that's built on turning the other team over. And taking away the 3, and neither of those things happened, which is why that they scored 92 points.
So against their third opponent in HoriZone League play, against the top defense in the HoriZone League, Oakland drops to 1-2 in league play, 92-75. They now go on the road to the Diamond Head Classic in Hawaii, and they are on the plane, probably getting pretty close to there. They had to leave for the airport at 6 a.m. Right after they got home from Cleveland. And now they got 3 games back-to-back, sort of to back.
Yeah. Yeah, and it starts out with a real doozy. Loyola Chicago is a very good team, but it's not even about the very good team that they're going to play. It's a team that's coached by Drew Valentine, who's Oakland's all-time winningest player in school history. Him and Campy have a very, very long relationship, and so that'll be one that both coaches put a lot into, I'm sure. And Oakland is going to be it's another one of the games where they're an underdog in, so they're going to have to come ready to play.
Yeah, they'll be playing Sunday, Monday, and then Christmas Day on Wednesday before they get a break, and then they'll play Arkansas on look at my calendar, the 30th.
Great, so it gets easier.
Hey, yeah. There's light at the end of the tunnel somewhere, but it's a tough stretch for Oakland, and we'll get more towards the Arkansas game when we get there, because there's a lot of meat on the bone for that one. But for now, Oakland 1-2 in conference play. Overall, they're 3-7 and are looking to make their way up the ladder in the HoriZone League once the season kicks off come New Year's. So that'll wrap it up for us on the men's basketball game reviews here on the GioMoShow. My name is Giovanni Mosheri, and we thank Griffin Beers for coming on once again from the HoriZone Roundtable.